Coming up this week, off-screen.
Mary Poppins returns.
Yorgos Lanthimos plays favourites.
Bumblebee reboots the Transformers.
We go back to 1985.
There's a whole lot of suffering with life itself.
Papillon embarks on another impossible escape.
We receive an impossible love.
And give it up for the notorious RBG.
All those to come and more off-screen.
This is Off-Screen. Off-Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
Ooh, welcome to Off-Screen. I'm Ben Connor.
I'm Kelly Needham.
Last one of the year, Ms. Needham. 165. That's the number of episodes we tap out on for 2018.
Oh, right. I thought it was just some joke that I didn't get.
We are going to have the top 10 of the year show. Like, Case and I are going to do that for sometime before New Year's.
Bringing Case back, eh?
He's coming back out of the cave now, you see. The child is up, walking around, talking.
I doubt that very much.
It's amazing how slow they are to get all that. It really is.
Yeah.
But, okay, so big stuff to come this week. We got a total of 8 reviews this week.
Good grief.
And some are really good.
Ooh.
And some are really bad. But,
We can't fit all of them in this show.
Well, no, but it's funny you bring that up because we do have the mega sexy, ever-expanded podcast edition into which we can cram all of the extra news and reviews that we don't get to cover in the radio edit. So where can you find those, Ms. Needham?
Spotify, Acast, Deezer, iTunes. Is it still called that?
I think it's Apple
I don't know.
Podcast. No, they're
Apple
trying to phase
Podcast,
it away. But yeah.
Basically, your podcast platform of preference. I had to say that a lot slower than you do.
To try and just remember, how does he do this? He usually
Podcast
spits across the room when
Yeah,
he does
exactly.
it. Yeah,
Usually I get a face full.
Yeah, exactly. So any podcast platform you like, just go on there, off-screen, full expanded edition, usually about 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, we try and not talk as long as we used to.
we try. But, okay, so we need some news to kick us off this week. What do you got?
Bit of a sad one.
Oh, yes.
Penny Marshall has unfortunately passed away. We think a complication with diabetes.
That's really sad. I was such a fan of Penny Marshall. You know the weird thing? Like, she's, like, to the world, she's from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
But, like, I never really knew her as the woman from Laverne and Shirley. I only ever knew her as kind of the Hollywood director.
Yeah, but I think your view on the world's a bit different to other people's.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Laverne and Shirley.
Well, no, me neither, to be fair.
And she seemed to turn up in acting roles in a lot of things.
Was she in like
last...
Bones at one point?
Always
Simpsons?
playing like a version of herself as well. Like, just... She's Penny Marshall. She doesn't need to play anyone else. She's just turning up to be Penny Marshall, and she's in Entourage and Simpsons. Bones she was in, as you pointed out. Just loads of stuff. I didn't realise as well, Laverne and Shirley was one of the apparently 19 shows that are all Happy Days spin-offs.
No, I didn't know that either.
It's insane, though, isn't it? Like, Happy Days spun into, is it Joey Loves Chachi, Mork and Mindy, and there's like a long list of shows they tried to make out of Happy Days.
Exactly.
But, Penny Marshall, director of Jumping Jack Flash, and she didn't do You've Got Mail, did she? That was Nora Ephron.
Yeah.
She did. Oh, A League of Their Own. Obviously,
Oh,
kind of a biggie. But sad to see her go.
Very sad.
Very sad. And I don't want to move on now because the first film we've got to talk about is pretty good. So it seems to go from that to something happy. Seems like a segue.
I'm trying to think of a good segue, but
We've
I
got
really
no
can't.
segue. Okay. Let's just talk. What are we doing first? We're doing The Favourite.
The Favourite. And I've been dreading this one.
I know you have.
This film has haunted me for months.
Would you like to explain to the audience why?
My Twitter handle is @TheFavourite and has been for about 10 years now.
That, yeah.
So ever since this film came out or the buzz started, whatever, I am getting tweeted like crazy.
Because theirs is the _favourite.
Something like that.
That one for the film.
But most people, they tag the _favourite and they tag me as well. It's
Maybe
like,
that's just to
stop
cover their
it.
bases.
Stop tagging me.
I remember when, because you didn't know at first, did you? You just,
No, I
it was like the
like,
night of the
"What's
premiere at
going
Cannes,
on?"
I think.
Yes, exactly.
And you just bombarded me with, what the hell is The Favourite and why is everyone tweeting me about it?
Yeah.
Well, we have the film now.
All right, well,
It is,
at least I hear it's good from you.
It is good. It is
Go on,
good.
then.
I had heard in advance that it was excellent, that it was the one to beat this year, that Olivia Colman was a shoo-in for the Oscar for it.
She's brilliant.
Now, that's been sort of on the way up for a while. Like, we seem to be slowly coming around to the acceptance that Olivia Colman is a great actress and should be respected thusly. Meet the chief example as to why. So this is the latest film to be written and directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who brought us The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. That was quite recent as well,
No
Colin
idea.
Farrell. Right, so this one is it's based on a novel, I believe. It is set in 18th century England. It is set in the court of Queen Anne, who is played by Olivia Colman. She is in the later years of her life, so she started to succumb to a number of physical ailments, a number of mental impairments as well. She had a friendship with Sarah Jennings, who is the lady of, I forget where now, who's played here by Rachel Weisz. And she seems to work as the sort of de facto stand-in for the Queen. Like, she's the Queen's best friend, is how she's treated in the court.
Right.
And the idea is, because the Queen's so ill all the time and indisposed, Rachel Weisz has to go and act as her proxy. You know, go to court and do all the courtly decisions, but she's doing it with the complete authority of the Queen. Right. One day, Sarah's cousin, who's sort of a disgraced lady, turns up at court and is given a chance by Rachel Weisz to work as staff, effectively, in the castle. Castle, home, stately...
Palace?
Palace. Okay, I'm sure it's a palace. There we are.
Wait, so she commits a crime? She goes to court?
No, she doesn't commit a crime. Her husband dies. She's destitute.
She just turns up.
Yeah, she just turns up. She comes
I thought you meant her, like, punishment was...
Oh, no, when I say
work in the
court...
palace.
Yeah, I mean, when I say court, I'm talking about, like, you turn up to the Queen's court.
I see.
Yes, the Queen is in court.
Got
The court of Queen Anne. Not like, guilty court. Not like that court, no. So... The idea is Emma Stone is the young disgraced former lady who's now the household staff.
Yep.
She begins to, in subtle, bitchy little ways, prove herself to the Queen. She comes up with a suggestion here and a wink, wink, and a nudge, nudge idea there. And before you know it, Rachel Weisz is now at war with her own cousin for the affections of, and effectively the ability to run the United Kingdom by power of the Queen.
I love how you nearly said United Queendom.
I know, and then I thought, the IT crowd. It is the IT crowd, isn't it? It's gay musical in the IT crowd.
Yeah.
With that woman off the telly. So, just to give you an idea, this clip is of Rachel Weisz and Olivia Colman. It is Olivia Colman basically demonstrating where her marbles are at in that moment, which is to say, rather scattered about, and she's wearing a rather hideously designed bit of makeup. Here's a clip.
Well, what do you think you look like? Badger. Do you really think you can meet the Russian delegation looking like that? No. I will manage it. Go back to your rooms. Thank you. Did you just look at me? Did you? Look at me! Look at me! How dare you! Close your eyes!
I love her Highness. You see how it just goes from just stone, stark silence to just this manic outburst.
Chaos.
Absolutely. And
it made me jump.
It did. It just comes out of the blue. It's just a staffer. It's just like a little page who's just stood there in the corner of the room manning his station.
Aww.
And she just picks on him. And it's very much a film like that. It's funny. It is really funny, but it's funny for the most sadistic kind of bitchy ways imaginable. Like, imagine 18th century period piece Mean Girls.
Ooh, I love it.
Right. You will love this. It's not a film that really particularly goes anywhere grand. Like, if you know your history, for instance, you know kind of how this played out. But the performances in it really lean into this bonkers, almost Death of Stalin, like, Armando Iannucci.
Yeah.
Bit like that, in that way that Jason Isaacs would turn up with his broad Yorkshire. Will you look at the look on his face? Moments like that. It is one of those. It is really, really fun in a way you wouldn't expect, because it's beautifully shot as well, gorgeous to look at. does have one rather glaring flaw, though.
Oh, it's not Emma Stone, is it?
It's
and
not.
her
It's not.
accent.
She's very good. The accent is fine. Rachel Weisz, I tremendous in this as well. I mean, what a year for her. This and Disobedience, like more or less back to back in the UK.
Yeah.
And Olivia Colman, who's got the showy part, but I still think actually Rachel Weisz gets the best role in this, but Olivia Colman gets the grand, big, shouty role. The big flaw, though, is Yorgos Lanthimos he's made the decision to utilize like a fisheye lens for certain shots to kind of open up the canvas and kind of disorient. And for me, I thought it was a gimmick too far. Like, the film looks incredible, and then occasionally he slots one of these fisheye lens shots in, like wide 16mm lens, and
Because it's more distracting.
It is. It's an obstacle rather than any kind of an immersive technique or any kind of hook, really. As a gimmick, it seems to have backfired for me. But
a shame.
And it's a shame, because otherwise it's a brilliant film.
And I can imagine a lot of people not seeing this because of the premise.
Yeah. I mean, just go and see 18th Century Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Really, it's
Should have put that on the poster.
They should have. Go and see 18th Century Mean Girls.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
And we're back, Ms. Needham. So, where to next?
1985.
Oh, do you know, because of this, I've had the Bowling for Soup song, 1985.
Me too.
Springsteen, Madonna.
1985.
I love that band. I miss them. I do. Anyway, so far removed from the whimsy of Bowling for Soup is Yen Tan's 1985, which is shot on film, on specific Kodak film. It is shot in 4:3 ratio and in black and white.
Oh no!
And it stars, I believe, is it Corey Michael Smith? I think his name is, and he is. You might know him actually. Have you ever seen Gotham?
Oh, only like briefly.
Right, the guy who's the coroner, who's also the Riddler.
No.
Okay, so the idea in Gotham is... anyway, beside the point. He's terrible in that, and he's not terrible in this, so go figure. Also very good in this, Jamie Chung, who also stars in a Fox Network comic book series. She stars in the X-Men one, The Gifted.
Oh,
So, yeah, right. So it's the story of a man in his 20s who returns home for Christmas. He has been living in New York. He's left home first chance he's gotten. He's gone out to make his name in advertising on Madison Avenue. And he's come home for Christmas to, I think it's Fort Worth, Texas. And he's never actually gotten around to having the talk with his very Republican, very Bible-thumping parents about his sexuality. And he has left this to the stage where he's had a year in which his partner has died during the height of the AIDS epidemic. And he himself has recently been diagnosed. And because of the way things were at the time, because of how little we sort of knew in 1985 about the AIDS pandemic and back when it was considered the gay plague of sorts, he basically has surmised that this will be his last Christmas. So he returns home for the first time in years to essentially make peace with his parents, but also to just get to know them in a way. Along the way, he encounters his ex-girlfriend, Jamie Chung, who he's lost touch with for obvious reasons when he's vacated to New York. And we have a clip of his gifting a Christmas present to his younger brother, a younger brother who has recently given up sports and taken up performing arts, leading to a very specific conversation going on in the house. And he's given him a brand new Walkman. Here's a clip.
Just open it, buddy. So this one actually records, and it's a little bit smaller, so it should be easier to carry around.
And it has Dolby. You're the best.
Now, you did not need to get him a new one. His old one worked just fine.
Dale, come on. It's Christmas.
Do you remember having a Walkman that could record?
Yes. Unfortunately.
I thought this was tremendous. It's 85 minutes long, so it's not. It feels like you're kind of just when you've had just your peak amount of setup, you then get to the resolution, and these things tend to rush through that. This actually does make its point rather well. It gets in, makes its point, ends. And I thought it was beautiful at times. I thought it was really moving. I thought the performances are great. I particularly like, as his parents, Michael Chiklis and Virginia Madsen.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and Michael Chiklis has become a paunchy middle-aged man now. Who knew?
Well, everyone saw that coming. Come on.
The Shield was a long time ago. But, I thought Corey Michael Smith's performance... It is Corey Michael Smith, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Corey Michael Smith, thank God for that. Yeah, Corey Michael Smith, I thought his performance was tremendous. I thought he was really, really good in this. I came away from this thinking, what the hell has he been doing on Gotham for 5 years?
Really needs to be playing a deeper part.
I dip back into that show every now and again just to see if it's gotten any better, and no, it never has. But
can't polish a turd.
You really can't with that one. But Jamie Chung as well. In fact, there's a moment in this in which Jamie Chung does a stand-up routine, and it's about her ethnicity in mid-80s America, because I think she plays Korean, and it's just this brilliantly delivered bit. You sit there and think, I wonder if she actually would have chops in more broad comedies, because...
Depends if she wrote it or not, I suppose.
Well, no, just in terms of her delivery, obviously it's someone else's script, but the way she delivers it is so naturalistic that you think, okay, I actually believe you could do comedy. I mean, she's in one of the Hangover movies, isn't she? Isn't she Ed Helms' wife?
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that was believable.
I've honestly blocked out them films.
Didn't we see the second one together?
We did, and I was outraged at the end of it.
So bad.
So bad.
Which do you hate me for more, that I took you to see that or The Expendables?
Ooh. Hangover.
Okay, should we do a quick bit of film news before we get to this one? What you got for me, Ethan? Do you want to talk about?
Disappointment, basically.
Okay.
The publicity shots have become available of Will Smith as Genie.
Oh, I knew you were going to point this out. They only came out about 20 minutes ago.
I know, but I saw them and I'm disappointed. I mean, it's fine. He looks like Will Smith if he was a genie.
Yeah.
But he ain't blue.
Well,
why is he not blue?
That's kind of a biggie, isn't it, for me?
Yeah, why is he not? He's wearing a blue outfit, I'll give him that, but he's not blue. You're supposed to be blue, Will.
Well, do you know, I'm just going to put it out there that Naomi Scott, in my humble opinion, is not drop-dead stunning enough to be Princess Jasmine, if those pictures are anything to go by. She's a 10 out of 10 bona fide hottie, but she ain't no Princess Jasmine. So
Who could be?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so what have we got to talk about next? Is it something that's completely inappropriate?
Bumblebee.
Okay.
Go on, shock me.
So, we just talked about 1985.
Yep.
We now have a movie that I think takes place in 87, I think.
All right.
It's either 86 or 87. Right. So, it was an unspoken reboot. This is how we were getting sold this. It was an unspoken reboot. They were going to tweak a few things. It's now here. It's a reboot. It is an end-to-end, top and tail reboot of the Transformers series. You can have seen none of these and then see this, and it starts the franchise new.
Okay.
Okay.
Has it erased some stuff?
It very specifically, deliberately contradicts some stuff in a way that you have to believe was on purpose.
All right.
So, this opens with the final battle for Cybertron. You know, the Transformers homeworld.
Yes.
The final battle of that, it's obviously all computer animated because, you know, we can't really stage these things practically. So at first it looks like a PS4 cutscene, like these things always do.
Yeah.
And during the final battle, the Autobots, who are our heroes and are effectively the rebels in the conflict, they are faced with sort of their dying hour. Optimus Prime picks his loyal, plucky, young, junior, like almost teenage Lieutenant Bumblebee, who's voiced by Dylan O'Brien at this stage from Maze Runner.
He can speak.
He can. Oh yeah, Bumblebee can speak.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll get to that. Right. So Bumblebee, young plucky lieutenant, is told by Optimus Prime, go to Earth and set up like a base for our people that we can reunite. We'll reunite there, we'll rebuild the army, and we'll come back. He sets out to do exactly this. He's been on Earth for about 2 minutes before he is actually discovered by a Decepticon, basically having failed his mission, because the whole thing was don't get him
Bumblebee.
Yep. Starscream, I think it is, or someone who looks like Starscream. Fighter jet just creeps up on him, stabs him through the throat, and takes out his voice box. But not before he can then, before he can get away and stage an escape, track down what looks like an old VW Beetle, scan it, turn himself into it so he can hide, and he is then taken in by a 17-year-old girl named Charlie, an aspiring mechanic who's played by Haley Steinfeld, and she obviously discovers what he is, and what you have is effectively E.T.
Aww.
E.T. with Bumblebee of Transformers fame. And of the whole origin story element of this really is, how did Bumblebee get the radio and learn how to do the talkie through clips thing? But, okay, so going with the E.T. Amblin Spielberg idea, here is a clip of Haley Steinfeld, her love interest, driving Bumblebee and being stopped by the military, who are led by John Cena. Here's a clip.
Get out and move away from the vehicle.
Stay cool, B.
What's going on? Hey! Come on! Stop it! Let go of me!
Weapons now! Take it down!
Run!
No, don't run! Do not run! She ran.
So there's a heavy emphasis on fun.
Yeah.
Very. And you can hear that in the clip.
John Cena. If you're going to hire John Cena, come on.
Well, here's the thing as well. I was sat watching this and I thought, isn't it funny how whenever two Transformers fight in any one of these movies, including this one, it always winds up working kind of like either a WWE match or a UFC fight. Like the moves are like wrestling moves and UFC moves.
Yeah, I guess.
So then it almost makes a logical sense that you'd have to eventually just go and get John Cena.
I usually find in any of the fighting sequels in a Transformers film, I can't tell what the hell is happening.
I'm glad you said that, Kel, because this is the first Transformers movie not directed by Michael Bay.
Woo!
And you know what? It's amazing what difference a Bay makes, because this looks...
That was too much.
Yeah, I know. I just completely came with that. So, this is Travis Knight, who directed Kubo and the Two Strings, the head of Leica.
Yeah.
Literally the head of Leica. It's like getting the Pixar guy to go and do a Marvel movie. It's insane. Right.
That could happen.
Heavy emphasis here on let's go back to the cartoons. So the designs look like the cartoons now. They're dumbed down. No more of this. They have to have 3 million visible moving parts to be believable. None of that. They're just the cartoon-looking ones now, and they behave like the cartoon stuff, and we're just doing a movie of that because it turns out that's fun. It is the first case in history I can remember of a studio just outright listening to the fans and giving them what they ask for.
Oh, well
and
done.
it turns out, against all odds, that actually worked.
Well, who'd have thunk?
Yeah, so the fight scenes make sense now. The fight scenes are coherent. You can actually root for one of them in a fight scene.
Because you can tell which is which.
You can tell which one he is. Yes. And you wouldn't believe what a novelty that is. Haley Steinfeld can absolutely lead this.
She's brilliant, though.
She's made that transition, I think, for me now, into an adult actress rather than...
But still playing children.
Still playing children, yeah. But, like, she's clearly an actress. Like, isn't she about 22 now, I think?
She must be, at least.
She's about 22, I think. So she's aged up to the point where she can now play a 17-year-old, so...
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, I'm sure by the time she's 40, she might be able to play 28, going by the rules of Hollywood. Because that is how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
But, yeah, John Cena, absolutely the guy they needed for this as well. So what you've got is the stock government stooge leading the sort of SWAT team. You know, that always happens in these movies where, you know, all the windows come through and all the SWAT teams pour in, and then the general powers through with his megaphone and the Humvees behind him. John Cena, brilliant at that. Because he gets to give it actual charm. And there's a great script here from Christina Hodson. I was just looking at what it was that she did recently. There's something massive. She signed up recently to Batgirl. That was what it was. I wasn't overly sold on the idea of her writing this beforehand, because she did write that god-awful Katherine Heigl thriller Unforgettable.
Oh.
Remember that? Yeah, she did write that.
I've forgotten all about it.
Yeah, but I think she has a story credit somewhere on Wonder Woman, I think. But,
fair enough.
So, she has done a really good job here. She's gotten to the Spielberginess of it. Because Spielberg's been a producer on all of these, don't forget.
Is he?
He has. Spielberg's name is on all of those Transformers movies.
Embarrassing.
And yet this is the first one that's done that any justice. It is a complete reboot. It's a successful reboot as well. I actually genuinely got into this. I was excited by it. I was engaged by it. At the end of it, I actually wanted to see more of it, which has never happened for me with a
Flippin' heck.
Transformers movie.
No.
I actually had a great evening with this film. I sat there, I watched it, I ate my popcorn, and I loved it. It was great.
Well, knock me over with a feather.
I know. And can you believe this comes 1 week after Sony finally got a Spider-Man cinematic universe to work?
What is happening?
What is happening? I know. The world's gone topsy-turvy.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
And we're back, Miss Needham.
Woohoo.
So you okay? You didn't get that ident. That's
No,
fine.
I've
I tried
got
to
it.
mouth it to you, but obviously nothing. Anyway, so should we see if we have more luck with the top 5 for this week?
Yeah, go on then.
Number 5.
Mortal Engines.
Which is fine. It's not
Sure.
bad. I mean, you're not excited to go out and see it, are you?
No, no chance.
Exactly. But if you were there, you were like at the cinema, you got 3 hours to kill, you're like, oh, I wonder what the next film showing is. And it was Mortal Engines.
Yeah,
you
go.
You wouldn't necessarily not go, would you?
Yeah, I'd give it a
Exactly.
go, I guess.
It's fine.
It seems to me like
a
a Sunday afternoon kind of film.
Pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Although, in my opinion, it should be animated with talking mice. That's how this would be way better, because it does
That
have
probably
an
appealed to me
80s,
more.
animated 80s movie feel, to be honest. So, has anybody tweeted us about Mortal Engines then?
Indeed. So at Simon Bundro2 says #Mortal Engines movie is really good. Not perfect, but a really cool and well done introduction to the superb world. Go see it. The other books get better, and we want the sequels made. Smiley face.
Yes, fair. I can't really argue with the voice of the fans.
Number 4.
Ralph breaks the internet.
Which, again, I mean, it's a disappointment. It's fine academically. It's just fine. But as a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, it's not 1/10 of what that film was.
I genuinely was bored by it.
Were you bored?
Yep,
Really?
genuinely.
A lot of it, especially after the Emoji movie, a lot
Yeah.
of it feels quite perfunctory.
Yes.
And you know that there's got to be that Twitter joke there, and there's got to be that emoji joke there, and there's got to be that Facebook gag there, and can we put in a bit about internet cats?
Yes.
And it is one of those movies. It does feel like a boardroom full of middle-aged executives have handed down notes of...
It does, even down to the fact that, of course, he's going to call eBay E-Boy.
Exactly. It does feel like a movie that's been written by your parents rather than yourself.
Exactly, but the fact is that our generation are the parents now.
I know. Yeah.
And we
that's-
grew up with the internet. I mean, admittedly, we were teenagers when it came in.
Yeah.
But we grew up with it.
I know.
For God's sake.
Hey, the Grinch is coming up later, so don't even get me started.
All right.
But has anyone tweeted us about it?
Yes, so at Alligator, well done, Ellie Jones. Y'all, I saw #Ralph breaks the internet and the Ralph emoji and
Okay.
totally cried. Me too, but for different reasons.
Number 3.
The Grinch.
It's coming up quicker than I thought then, wasn't it? Didn't time that well at all. What's number 2 then? I thought it was number 2. Anyway, again, it's a film. I can't really be too offended by it because there's nothing innocuously bad about The Grinch. My problem with The Grinch is, why have you bothered to do The Grinch when the film you've delivered tries at every opportunity to undermine the nature of the Grinch, like make him nice. The Grinch isn't meant to be nice. That's why he's the Grinch.
Yeah.
It's meant to. The story is meant to be that the worst person can be brought round, not that the average person can be bad and then cheered up. So, anyway, outside of that, it's exactly what you'd expect of a movie from the studio that made Despicable Me. I almost said Illumination.
Illumination!
Despicable Me, and are now doing Dr. Seuss. It's exactly what you expect of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you saw The Lorax or Horton Hears a Who,
Yes.
kind of along those lines. Like, neither of those are particularly bad films.
They just exist.
They just, that's it. It exists. But, has whoever tweeted us determined whether or not it exists?
Indeed, so Amkachuria says, I didn't think it was possible to love Benedict Cumberbatch anymore till I saw The Grinch. heart eye emojis, hashtag the Grinch, hashtag Tuesday Thought.
Number 2.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I know, we don't have a button yet because there was no obvious one. Sorry. This is a film so good, I've had to go back to the drawing board with my top 10 movies of the year.
Ooh.
Not even kidding, because I don't think there's anyone that could sit through this and not consider it one of the best films of the year.
It is really good.
It's so fun, isn't it?
I did not want to see this until you and I spoke about this film. Was it even last week?
It was last week. It was just last week.
And so I went and saw it, and I absolutely loved it.
So good, isn't it?
It's really good.
How much did you love Jake Johnson as
too
Peter
much,
Parker,
but I love him anyway.
Yeah, but he just is that character,
He's
isn't
brilliant.
he? He fits it so perfectly.
Yeah. I think there was only one character that I didn't care for, and that was the Spider Pig thing.
Oh, Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham.
Peter Parker.
You know when you're just like, this film would neither gain nor lose anything for your existence. So.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I can go with that, because it doesn't serve a huge narrative function, does he, particularly? But
I mean, it was fine. Didn't ruin it by any stretch.
No, I mean, actually, I could have stood to have seen like another minute or two of like Penny Parker and like what that thing could do, the mech spider.
Yeah.
Like,
and
I feel
Spider-Man Noir, obviously.
Oh, Spider-Man Noir, love him. Apparently, Nick Cage has turned around and said, "I'm open to doing a spin-off."
Oh, well, I'm sure he is. I'm not sure I can stand a whole film at that.
I don't think so. I feel like just save it for this. Like, we never needed Lego Batman, but you know, just save it for the Lego Movie sequel because it makes it less special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so has anyone tweeted and did they love it the same way we did?
So at Joey_McG says, okay, hashtag Into the Spider-Verse was dope AF. Lots of fire emojis. Highly recommend it as a must-watch.
Fair.
Number 1.
It's Aquaman.
You enjoyed that, did you?
I did, very much.
So, I promise you that ident is more fun than the actual process of watching Aquaman. Have you had the pleasure, the misfortune?
Do you know, I was going to do it, but then I saw that it was nearly 3 hours long and thought, I just can't do it.
The screening would be. I think the film is 2 hours 23.
Yeah.
And so once you tack on the adverts, trailers, etc., it would be a 3 hour block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of commitment for a film you know you're not going to like.
Oh, it's so bad. It really is. Yeah. It's just... I just can't wrap my head around it. How on any planet did anyone think this was a good idea? Like,
it's
they couldn't
DC.
make Superman work.
Yeah, but it's DC. They still think these things are good that they're making.
Yeah,
otherwise they'd stop.
Right, so it's rubbish. Jason Momoa's having fun, but he's not got an awful lot to do. Amber Heard's pretty much given just the love interest role, and that's about it. In fact, for most of the movie, she's never actually given a first name, to the point that Aquaman actually asks for it halfway into this. So, shoddy writing. Directorially, nothing too much to show off for James Wan. Stylistically, the whole thing just looks like a hogwashed Avatar knockoff. And, well, it's a movie so overwhelming with its forgettableness that I somehow managed to go entire days before I remembered that there is a drumming octopus in this movie.
A drumming octopus?
A drumming octopus. A massive octopus with a drum under each tentacle who is drumming all these simultaneously. That happened... And it wasn't even in the top 10 naffest things about Aquaman. So, yeah, I take it whoever tweeted loved it.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Kinda. So at PJInToy says, watched hashtag Aquaman today and I'm still not over how epic the movie was. Blissed out for so many reasons. Definitely a movie fit for the king of the seven seas.
No, Aquaman isn't even fit for Burger King. That's your king right there. Is that your king? Sorry, I want to Killmonger, I'm sorry. Is this your king?
I can't even react to that right now.
Oh, man, I watched a bit of Black Panther the other day on Sky Cinema.
It's so good.
And it was that scene. It was Killmonger beating the hell out of T'Challa. And
it's so good.
So good. I love that movie.
Honestly, I've watched it about... Not even joking, I must have watched it 4 or 5 times.
That doesn't surprise me. It's very rewatchable. It has an almost, in that way that I always said it was like a live-action Lion King, even down to the rocks that all the community gather on. Yeah.
Haven't they said that, actually, that was inspired by The Lion King? They've kind of...
Kind of has to be, yeah. Kind of has to be. But But yeah, I just kind of think that it has the rewatchability of something like The Lion King, like a classic animated film.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, anyway, so some film news before we do Papillon. Something quick, what we got?
So a very quick bit of news that
Go.
it's come out that the live-action remake of Lady and the Tramp will not be CGI dogs.
What?
It will be real dogs.
What?
Yeah, apparently.
What the hell?
Well, I mean, to be fair, they do need to use real dogs. What's the point if it's CGI?
Hang on, are you making the case that CGI and automation is taking good jobs away from hard-working dogs?
That's exactly what I'm saying, man.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm not even going to attempt to get in the way of a tried and tested workers' rights argument for canines. So
Well, I'm not sure if the dogs are... I presume the dogs will be talking and do that whole annoying thing where they actually animate a real dog's mouth, but...
the show dogs approach.
The show dogs
approach. But without the horrific sexual assault references. Yeah. But
there you go. Quick bit of news.
And it's going to star Tessa Thompson. So.
Shall we talk Papillon?
Papillon. Did you ever see Papillon?
No.
Right, it starred Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. Was it 71, 73, I think, thereabouts? Based on, what's his name? Henri Charrier, I think his name was, a writer who was locked up in, I think it was the Devil's Bay or Devil's Island penal colony, French penal colony in South America. He was framed for a crime he didn't commit. And we're inclined to believe him because in actuality he confessed to many, many other things, but not that. So by all accounts...
Now we're doing...
But he won't do that. He won't do that, Kel. Anyway, he's Charlie Hunnam in this case. It's the 1930s. He is sent to the French prison colony, and on his way he meets Louis, played by Rami Malek, who's filling in for Dustin Hoffman here. Rami Malek is, by his claim, falsely accused of forgery. He's a business tycoon, a very wealthy man. He's confident that his wife will have his appeal sorted before Christmas. And what forges between these two men is a bond initially of just a shared business interest. Papillon, Charrier, sorry, everyone else calls him Papillon or Pappy, Charlie Hunnam. He offers to protect Rami Malek in the prison in exchange for Rami Malek bankrolling his eventual escape plan. And we have a clip of him proposing this exact arrangement.
I saved you a spot next to me. You got a lot of eyes on you. I can keep you safe. All I need's enough money for an escape. Won't be cheap, but you'll be safe.
Said the scorpion to the frog.
All scorpions in here, pal.
I think I'd be better off taking my chances setting up in front of the guards. Wouldn't you agree?
You seem like the kind of man who can make up his own mind.
You're a good judge of character. Have a good night.
So, obvious question I have to ask. What do you think of Charlie Hunnam as an actor?
Oh, I don't like him.
Okay, you're not going to like him in this then. A lot of your likability in this film hinges on how likable you personally find Charlie Hunnam and Rami Malek.
I like Rami Malek, don't get me wrong.
Oh, Rami Malek's great, but it does very quickly transpire that the whole thing he's been doing this entire time is basically playing the same kind of tortured Asperger's genius character.
Yeah, but he does it so well.
He does.
Charlie Hunnam, on the other hand, does a terrible anybody.
Yeah, well, what was it I called him? Was it the man of 1,000 accents, master of none?
He hasn't got 1,000 accents. They're all exactly the same.
They are.
Doesn't matter where he's from.
This is one of those remakes, by the way, where everyone's just American until they need to be French.
Yeah, obviously.
It's like that. It's a cheap and cheerful remake, made for no other reason than, obviously maybe the rights were going cheap, and you could make a decently low budget version that, because of a couple of star names, you could probably make a decent bit of bank out of. And yeah, on that basis, yes, it does the job. I'm sure it'll get all the Rami Malek fans in, along with the back wave of Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm sure they'll flock to it. They shouldn't though, because it's not particularly any good. It's fine, but it's fine in that way that certain remakes like this tend to be. So, did you ever see that one for Flight of the Phoenix?
No.
Right, they remade that in about 2004, 2005, I think, and it starred Dennis Quaid, Tyrese, Hugh Laurie, Giovanni Ribisi.
Oh, wow.
And it even had Giovanni Ribisi doing the same kind of oddball, quirky, Asperger's-y character that Rami Malek is doing here. And other remakes, just sort of cheap and cheerful ones like The Manchurian Candidate or Assault on Precinct 13 or, the ones like that. This is about as successful as all of those. So it's not a bad movie, it's just pointless and not particularly great.
Excellent. I'll skip that one then.
It's one for Sky Cinema.
Yeah, sure.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the Movie Marker radio show and podcast.
And we're back for one last ride, Ms. Needham. So,
Of the year.
Of the year, yes.
How sad.
Wow. And we didn't even have a Fast and Furious movie this year.
I know.
We didn't. It's been a long year. We
I've
haven't had
mourned
one.
that for weeks now.
Oh, do you know what's been really not sitting right with me this Christmas is it's been the first Christmas in 4 years that we've not had a Star Wars movie.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I've felt that loss, to be honest.
Why did they choose to bring Solo out earlier?
I don't know. I don't know why they brought it out earlier. I don't know why they sacked Lord and Miller. I don't know why they then hired Ron Howard. I don't know why they signed off on that script or that movie or that edit. I know nothing about Solo.
I've opened a can of worms here, haven't I?
Solo is never more than perfectly serviceable. You know? Yeah. Don't particularly care. I've tried rewatching it twice.
Any good?
I've never made it back through.
No.
I always get bored and turn off. So much
It never
of it
appealed
is,
to me, I'll be honest.
so much of it's dimly lit as well. Like really hard to make out and
Yeah, I
see.
can't bear
and-
that.
Yeah. Unnecessarily bleak.
Yeah.
Like it's a PlayStation game aimed at really angry 15-year-olds.
And maybe that's who likes it.
Maybe. So, let's talk about our final review for radio, anyway, of the year.
I've been looking forward to this one.
I figure this is going to be a huge hit in your house regardless. This is like critic-proof in your house. So, Mary Poppins Returns.
Yay!
Which is directed by Rob Marshall, who brought us Into the Woods a couple of years ago and has something of that musical theatre sort of pedigree in his work. Did that fourth Pirates of the Caribbean, I think, as well.
We'll forgive him for that.
We will have to forgive him. And, of course, this brings Lin-Manuel Miranda to a movie properly. And he has turned up in minor roles here and there and like on TV and things like that. He wrote the music, obviously, for Moana.
Yes, he did.
2 years ago now. And he's still not, though, had his big movie break, his breakout role, his
Not
vehicle.
for him, no.
Not for him. Weirdly enough, Mary Poppins Returns is that vehicle.
Ooh.
It is the Lin-Manuel Miranda vehicle.
Wow.
Despite the fact that it's called Mary Poppins Returns and the central character is Mary Poppins. Sorry, let me say that in the proper Lin-Manuel Miranda day. As I live and breathe, it's Mary Poppins.
You've got to have an American doing a terrible British accent.
This literally opens, right, with Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's a lamplighter. He's the guy that goes and lights and turns off all these street lamps, the oil burners.
Like Dumbledore.
Kind of like that, only he uses like a pole and turns a little gear.
Oh, not as
And
good.
it literally is him just going down the street, singing along to The Lovely Old London Sky, I think it's called. And it's a great, catchy song, and it sets a precedent. Because what you then get is a catch-up with the Banks family. It's now decades on from the first movie. The Banks children are now the parents, as it's so to speak. So Michael is now a widow himself. His wife's passed away in the previous year. He's left with 3 precocious children, rather like he and his sister Jane were in the first movie. Jane is now like a suffragette, effectively. She's all for workers' rights and
Who'd have
big into
seen that coming?
protesting. Yeah, she's played by Emily Mortimer. He's Ben Whishaw, and they are threatened with the loss of the old family home due to a bank foreclosure because Michael, in order to make ends meet with his wife's illness and everything, had taken out a loan at Fiduciary Financial, where he now works just like his dad did. Right, but it turns out that he has a new boss as well who can't help him out. See, his new boss is the nephew of the old boss, and the nephew is played by an unscrupulous Colin Firth. And so Mary Poppins must return in order to, effectively save Mr. Banks, for lack of a better term, because it turns out
like
that
what
movie
you
had
did
that
there.
title for a reason. Yeah. So I'm going to let Mary explain it herself for you.
I'm Jane! Come quick! What is it, Georgie?
Has something happened?
I was flying the kite and I got caught on a nanny.
Whatever are you talking about?
Come look.
Wait, where did you get that kite?
I found it in the park. She kept it from blowing away.
Mary.
Poppins. Close your mouth, please, Michael. We are still not a codfish. Jane Banks. Still rather inclined to giggle, I see.
Good heavens. It really is you. You seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? How incredibly rude. One never discusses a woman's age, Michael. Would have hoped I taught you better.
I know, right? I know. So, I'm not an overly big fan of Mary Poppins. I've seen it a few times, and I never gained much of an appreciation of Mary Poppins until I saw Saving Mr. Banks, and then I actually found the story of P.L. Travers more interesting than the story of Mary Poppins. But I did fall head over heels in love with some of the old music of Mary Poppins, particularly Go Fly a Kite, for obvious reasons within that particular movie. But it wasn't something that I hold in great esteem. I like.
I can
Mary
imagine
Poppins
it appealing more to
fine, and
girls, to be fair.
I think so. It just wasn't big in my house growing up. I sat and watched this, though, and yeah, this is going to be huge. And it absolutely deserves to be.
Oh,
it's
brilliant.
So good.
Yay.
It really is. I've come to the conclusion that every year now in cinema needs to begin and end with a big blowout musical.
Yes.
Like last year, there was one year where we started with La La Land and ended with Greatest Showman. And you're like, that's how you begin and end a year.
Yes, agreed.
And yeah, this feels like a great film to end this year on. It's
I'm very pleased.
Fun. It's got so much heart. Lin-Manuel Miranda, cool, blimey, Governor. He's great fun in it, and he actually a lot more naturalistic than the old Dick Van Dyke equivalent.
But we all loved it because it was crap.
Well, this is the thing, though, right? I have a serious beef with this movie and its marketing department.
Is it because it made it look like Jane and Michael Banks were married in the trailer?
Well, there's that issue, yeah. No,
Honestly,
it's
I was like,
specifically,
what?
They highlighted that Dick Van Dyke was in this.
Yes.
And they showed you a very specific clip of Dick Van Dyke in this, in the trailer.
Yep.
They shouldn't have done that because it's executed as if it's meant to be a surprise.
Oh.
And then him dancing is meant to sort of be a double surprise, and they've ruined both of them.
Well, yeah, I knew he did that.
Really? This is like naming your movie Lone Survivor when it's about 4 guys.
Yeah.
But, yeah, never mind.
Spoiler.
Anyway, Lin-Manuel Miranda's great, Colin Firth, Ben Whishaw, Emily Mortimer, Julie Walters.
Is she in it?
Julie Walters is in it as the housekeeper, I think.
In fact, yes, I did see her in the trailer.
Yeah.
I did.
And just great fun. Bags of heart, some
And
real
Emily Blunt?
sadness. And then there's Emily Blunt.
Oh,
No, not bad. Right.
Okay.
As you can tell from the clips, right, there is a...
She's doing her most best
She
of
is, isn't
English
she?
accent. I mean, she is English, but she's
she
not
is
that
English,
posh.
and she's very, very good at it. She's very good at it. She is doing an impersonation for at least the beginning of it. But you kind of feel like that's kind of hard not to do. You kind of have to do that to then intertwine your own elements and make it your own. The character is simply too iconic.
Yes.
That you have to start out with the icon before you make them a person.
Yes.
It's like playing Elvis. You've got to do thank you very much, to begin with.
Yes.
To then give him your own personality. Emily Blunt does that, and she does it very, very well. And that's before you get to the rather uncomfortable discussion of, it's like a mega hot 30-something Hollywood starlet playing Mary Poppins. I'm now weirdly attracted to Mary Poppins, and I feel bad about that. But
I don't know. I reckon if you went back and watched the original, you'd probably be like, oh, actually.
She's before my time, so like I never knew
And this
her
is
as
the thing.
I never knew her as a
grow up with her as
star.
a sex symbol.
we
But now
know.
if you went back and watched it, you'd probably be like, actually, she's pretty hot.
It's because we know Emily Blunt, though.
Yeah.
Like, we know Emily Blunt for being the actress Emily Blunt, whereas, like, you kind of... Who was it played the original
Julie
movie?
Andrews.
Julie Andrews. Sorry, I always get my Julies mixed up because we just said Julie Walters. So
It's not that Julie.
Yeah, the other
Different
Julie. Julie Andrews, I kind of know from Mary Poppins and like Sound of Music.
Yes.
I know her from those rather than she's an actress who then stars in those.
Yeah.
So it's
I get
kind
it.
of a, you know what I mean? It's kind of an iconic actor, iconic role thing. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's enough about my awkward problem with Mary Poppins. But she's
I'm
terrific
sorry
in
about
it.
that.
She's got the chops. She can do the song and the dance and the over-the-top, theatrics of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some songs in this that you are gonna love.
Oh, I can't wait.
How much did you love Anna and the Apocalypse recently?
Oh,
the
it was
songs in that?
brilliant.
Right, obviously next level songwriting here compared to
duh.
that, but
Go
just
on.
the same kind of just churlish fun. Very much like Greatest Showman, where it was all about building your excitement with that music and getting you to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
This does it. This really does it. I don't like Mary Poppins particularly, it's fine and everything, but I loved this. And that's me, the
so
skeptic.
Excited.
I'm the skeptic saying
I know,
this,
you're the one with no heart.
But I did love it. I absolutely loved Mary Poppins Returns. I think the implication is that this could now be a series.
Mm-hmm.
It's not stated outright or anything.
I think it was a series of books, wasn't it?
There is a series of books, but I think the implication here is that we can now bring her back. There's certainly a noticeable attempt to lionize certain elements of the iconography of Mary Poppins into the Disney canon. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got a Disney Infinity character, you're part of the Disney family now. One of those levels of sort of, just say, we've got vertical integration?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those. There's a lot of vertical integration being laid out before your eyes. They actually established, for instance, very early on that Lin-Manuel Miranda is a legacy character, that he has existed within the world of Mary Poppins, hence he knows about her. So think, hence that, it's our live and breathe. Like,
Well, to be fair, I did question that, because when I saw the trailer, I thought, is he meant to be Bert? And Bert just hasn't aged.
yeah, exactly. You think that, no, not at all. But I don't think they even mentioned Bert, actually. But, I'm sure.
She's obviously just got all her men that she likes to come and have a jolly with when she comes down to Earth.
Mary Poppins is
wherever.
just hanging out in pubs and everything in the meanwhile.
Yeah.
By the way, if you were wondering if this was ever going to get to the stage of you will hear Mary Poppins doing a broad Cockney accent, that's happening.
Oh.
Yeah, that is happening. She will go toe-to-toe with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Excellent.
And hold her own, impressively. I thought it was great. I thought everything about the film worked.
Oh, good.
Like I say, that's me, the skeptic. It's film of the week. Giving it that.
Shocking, that.
It's definitely film of the week for me.
I'm glad it beats Bumblebee, I'll be honest. I know Bumblebee's fine.
So that's the thing. That's film of the week, Mary Poppins. Bumblebee, though, I think you definitely should see it. I'd be very curious to see if it has the same effect on you.
I'll see it.
As a real palate cleanser after the god-awful last 5 Transformers movie. I mean,
I didn't see most of them, to be fair.
Well,
didn't bother.
If the Transformers franchise proved anything, it's that if at first you don't succeed, try, and try again. And it turns out on the 6th go, you might make it.
So what about next week, then?
So we're not going to do next week. It's going to be Christmas.
Oh, no.
I expect you'll be in your snuggies with your what do you call it, nibbles and...
Nibble? What do you call that? Food?
Food? Look, I pretty much exist on biscuits and Jack Daniels over Christmas. I don't really...
What do you mean over Christmas?
That's a very good point, very good point.
All right, fine. What's coming next year, then?
Next year, January 11th, we'll return. And we'll return with Colette, Keira Knightley and Dominic West, I think.
Yep.
We'll return with Stan and Ollie. That's then as well. Hugh Jackman in The Frontrunner.
All right.
The Gary Hart political biopic. And this is one I've really been looking forward to, Kevin Hart and, Bryan Cranston. I almost forgot Bryan Cranston's name. In The Upside.
The remake of The Intouchables?
Intouchables or
Something?
Intouchable. It has like 6 titles.
Something like that.
But yeah, so that's first week back too.
Excellent.
So we got all those to come and more next year off screen. Look out for the top 10 of the year show. In the meanwhile, we'll try and aim that for like New Year's Eve. Get that out for then.
Cool.
And in the meanwhile, for one last time in 2018, this has been the Candy Store production for Movie Marker. I've been Ben Connor.
I've been Merry Christmas.
And we shall return.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Offscreen. For more movie news, reviews, and more, visit moviemarker.co.uk.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Podcast extras.
Fun. There's loads of news this week as well. And we still got reviews to do. So, what should we do? Should we do a piece of film news and then a review?
Yeah,
I think that's a good way to do it. What do you want to talk about? Anything specific?
So, one that made me laugh a little bit, I guess, is that Benicio del Toro has been cast in the upcoming Dora the Explorer movie.
He has, and it's so good at casting. He's going to be Swiper.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you have young children in your family. Have you never seen Dora the Explorer?
Never.
Right, so the idea is Swiper will appear and try and thwart whatever Dora's trying to do that week. And the way that you get rid of him is to chant, "Swiper, no swiping," at the TV, and then he goes away.
Well, that's pretty quick fix.
Yep, and Benicio del Toro could make that really creepy. I love it. I just can't wait to see it. I hope they do him in, like, full Wolfman mode. You know,
is it meant to be a wolf?
Well, he's a fox.
Oh,
if Swiper is a fox, I think he's meant to be full Wolfman mode, I think. That's got to be where they go with it, surely.
Well, you got to do something with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Benicio's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking of cool, can I talk about the Empress of Cool?
Yes.
The notorious RBG.
Oh, yeah.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Who is this?
Do you not know Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
No.
She's on the US Supreme Court.
Obviously heard.
She was the second woman to join the United States Supreme Court.
All right.
She's got a biopic coming out soon, starring Armie Hammer and Felicity Jones. Felicity Jones will play RBG. Armie Hammer's the husband.
Love a bit of Armie Hammer.
The movie is called On the Basis of Sex.
Oh.
And that's meant to be, I think it's coming up for Oscar season. I think it's like February kind of time. But this is the documentary, and yeah, big fan of this. Right, so, story of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, how she came up, went through law school. She met her husband whilst they were at university. He's the outgoing party type. She's the relatively well-spoken, reserved kind. But they're a magical partnership. And that partnership allowed her to have it all, effectively. She got to be the mum. She got to, pursue her career, and not only pursue her career, but then go on to actually change America.
Oh, good
so
for her.
She brings forward a number of bills that advance equal rights for women, that improve women's standing within American society. And I'll tell you what, we've got a clip in which actually they explain a few of these things for you.
What we wanted was a review of cases that the court would say sex discrimination doesn't work. And it would be a broad command, basically, to legislatures to get rid of statutes that discriminate on the basis of gender. But she also added, to make the point much more poignant, the history of women and the way we were treated throughout America and its beginnings.
It's a powerful doc.
Yeah.
It really is. Here's the thing, though. She's got, because of her cultural standing at this moment in time, like outside of her job, she has a point in culture now where there is, because of the rise of feminist movements in the last 3 or 4 years, for instance, like noticeably internet-powered advancements, that then obviously trickled into the real world, and the Me Too movement and things like that, and genuine questions now starting to be finally asked about how women are regarded by effectively a male-dominated society, despite the fact that we claim it to be equal for all. Obviously, we know that's not the case, but because of this having been the case and now being questioned, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has become she's become a t-shirt. She's become a bumper sticker. She is the notorious RBG. She's a figure of Saturday Night Live. She's, a popular talking head. She's someone that society now wants to actually shine a light on and say, look, this is where we should be taking inspiration from. Now, you've got all that going on, and then you've got the woman herself, who loves this. And she's having a great old time with it. She's in her 80s now, and watching her watch the Saturday Night Live sketches, for instance, in which Kate McKinnon plays, the badass RBG, is really touching. And actually her reflecting on what she means to other people and what she actually thinks she should mean, which is a lot less, is really moving stuff.
Aww.
And the perspective with which she takes us back through her former days. We get a lot of her former colleagues, for instance, people that came up with her, looking back on the things they went through, and even they're shocked by the impact they've made. Like, they look back and say, look, we thought this was going to take 6 attempts. We got it on the first one. Nobody thought that was going to happen. We didn't know what to do. And it was really, really solidly done. There's a visual gimmick that they utilise where they use interviews, like old archival interviews with RBG herself.
Yeah.
And they've taken bits of the transcript and retrofitted them into 3D and lined them along the Supreme Court bench, for instance. And it's an effect that really works. It narrates the story for you. Really, really intriguing. I thought this was great. I didn't expect an awful lot. I thought this was going to be a bare bones to A to B to C biographical documentary. You know, we get one of these for everyone sooner or later, and this is presumably just been wheeled out to beat the narrative film to the theatres. No, this actually really does have something going for it. It's got a visual palette all of its own. It's got a compelling central figure. It unfolds pretty solidly. It gives you a genuinely gripping narrative as it does. Yeah, check this one out. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
High praise.
Never would have thought it. They couldn't make a movie about Vivienne Westwood work for me, but they did for Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
John still complains about having to watch that film.
Oh, God. We had to review it, didn't we? Is that what it was? We reviewed it. I sent you the link. And oh, man. Yeah, he hated that.
He did. He really hated it.
I think,
but he might well enjoy this one from the sounds of it.
I think I didn't see him for about 2 months after that, and it still annoyed him enough that it was the first thing he said to me.
Still hasn't forgiven you, clearly.
Yeah, no, that festered for a while, that one. So, you remember last week we talked about the Sonic the Hedgehog reveal? Have you seen the direction Sega have taken it since?
No.
Sega have now put out this image, which is a big post-it note saying, "Can't a guy work out?" and then muscular Sonic legs and red trainers.
I was going to say, Sonic be doing leg day.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Maybe don't poke the bear on this one, guys. Nobody likes it. Stop poking.
Still had nightmares about when you revealed his face to me last week.
Oh, God, yeah. It just looks like he wants to cause you harm, doesn't he?
It's probably one of the most terrifying things I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot.
So what have you got to talk about? Anything?
Shall we talk about the upcoming Morbius film for Marvel?
Oh, God, yes.
Do you remember that's a thing?
That's a thing, apparently, yeah.
Jared Leto's playing Morbius because...
Isn't the dude who made Life directing this? Daniel Espinosa's directing it, I think.
Yes, he is.
Which is really weird, because Life had that whole thing for a while, didn't it? Where it was going to be like the stealth setup for Venom.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Kind of
well, there you go.
odd.
So he's got his foot in the door here, but they've actually cast the female lead, or they're in talks to cast.
Yeah,
whatever
who was
that
this?
means.
She wasn't a known name.
So it's Adria Arjona. So apparently she was in Pacific Rim Uprising. Again,
Yes.
I've blocked that out of my memory.
Mhm. She's the barely acknowledged love interest as part of the love triangle between Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood, John Boyega, and the female pilot in Pacific Rim Uprising.
Sure.
Yes,
Don't
there
remember.
we are.
But anyway, yeah, so she's in talks to play Martine, who in the comics was engaged to Morbius, and he sort of struggles with, should I eat her or not? I don't know.
If you remember the 90s Spider-Man series, it was a big part of that for like 10 episodes. It tied into the Man-Spider storyline, that's how I remember it. Neogenic Nightmare, that was it.
Neogenic Nightmare.
Is there like a 5 episode long or something like that storyline in the animated Spider-Man series from the 1990s where Spider-Man, it turns out, is not the end of the mutation, rather the middle.
Oh.
And yeah, you can hazard a guess as to what the end of the mutation would be. And also, really good idea for a movie. Just saying, if you had a horror director like Sam Raimi. Anyway, just putting that out there.
Well, anyway, Morbius has come in as part of the what's it called? The non-Spider-Man universe. Whatever Venom was part of.
But on the subject of Venom, right, the creator of Venom, Todd McFarlane, who went on to create Spawn as well, not a man who's widely beloved, let's just say. He has, over the years, garnered something of a reputation for being pretty much in it for the merchandise. He has given his thoughts on the reception that Venom achieved. And he's not been kind to, let's just say, people who do my job.
What's he said?
The critics get it wrong in that they forget their age. They come in and they're 42 years old, and they come in with their attitude and they're going, stop it. What if you were 16, 15, and you were watching this movie? You would love it. Of course you would love it. This thing delivered everything it was supposed to. It was gnarly. It was nasty. It has a big cool venom, which is what I was looking for. If your basic requirement, Todd, of a movie called Venom is that it stars a character called Venom, you might want to adjust your critical barometer, pal. I mean, really.
At least
Also-
you're not 10 years off your age.
Yeah, can I also say as well, he thinks the average film critic is 42 years old, he doesn't know film critics, because no, they're goddamn not. The average critic is in their mid-50s.
Exactly.
I'm considered quite young.
And you're 53.
I know.
Whatever, Venom was terrible, especially when he said, "On my planet, I'm kind of a loser."
Yes,
that was it.
yeah.
That was the moment for me where I was like, done.
No, for me, it was at the end of the movie when Michelle Williams turns around and says, "I'm sorry about Venom." You're like, yeah, you should be, love. Anyway, yeah, aging critics. Cheers for that, Todd. Yeah, keep your penises off. Did you know this whole thing with Die Hard? Is it a Christmas film? Is it not? That ridiculous thing. They've taken this a step further. Fox have reissued Die Hard in a Christmas box, specifically to answer this question.
It is a Christmas movie.
They've also put out a trailer specifically marketing it as a Christmas movie.
Well, it is a Christmas movie.
It is. I agree, but
It's set at Christmas. Like, what are the criteria for it being a Christmas movie?
I don't know anymore.
It's set at Christmas. What do you want?
Exactly. I mean, Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I watch it every Christmas morning, usually by accident. Anyway, sticking with Die Hard and Bruce Willis, though, one final bit. Bruce Willis has signed a 3-picture deal with, this makes me laugh, Movie Pass Films.
No, Movie Pass.
Yeah, Movie Pass? Yeah, this failing company that's like just desperately trying to hold on to
I still haven't watched the John Travolta.
Gotti.
No,
It's
Gotti.
so bad.
I've not watched it.
It's so bad.
I can't do it. Can't do it.
The movie literally just opens with like John Travolta as John Gotti like, leaning over, like staring into the bay. And then he just turns around to the camera as if to say, "Oh, I didn't see you there." And then just starts monologuing into camera and breaking the fourth wall. And you're like, "This is awful. Your accent is awful. You're clearly phoning this in. What the hell are you doing?
What
and
happened
where
to
did
you, man?"
Find that hair dye?" But anyway, so yeah, he's going to do a 3-picture deal with Movie Pass because they.
About anything in particular?
I
Or...
don't know. The first one's going to be called Trauma Center.
Oh no!
It's going to shoot in Miami this February. Apparently, he's got a movie called 10 Minutes Gone that's in post-production as well, which probably describes Bruce Willis's career at this stage. To be honest,
Oh, it's
definitely.
such a shame. Should we do another review?
Yep, what we got?
An Impossible Love.
An Impossible Love. Right, when I can open the IMDb page, this is going to be an awful lot easier. But yes, An Impossible Love, which stars Neil Schneider and, oh my God, I've forgotten her name. This is terrible. Hang on.
Neil Schneider.
Niels Schneider. Neil Schneider. And Virginia Efira. That's it. Both of whom are great in this. That's why I remembered their names, to be honest. Their names I remembered because their performances are great. It's the latest film by Catherine Corsini. It is about a couple who get together in their 20s. She falls pregnant. He is from. He works away. He leaves her for long periods of time. He then announces that he has conceived a child with and married a woman from an affluent family with like political influence and presence in the local community. And it's better for him that he stays with them, but he will continue to support them. So this woman raises their daughter away from their father, and it's about how this family goes on to function. It's about the lives that they form in spite of this fractured familial structure. And well, to be effective, it's basically about being the other family, as it were, about being, the bit on the side.
Yeah.
Only you were there first. And also the hopes and dreams of the daughter herself as she then grows up and starts to get to know her father and starts to understand just how she factors into his life and what she means to him. So French language film, not one we can play a clip from, but the performances are genuinely great. They absolutely transcend the language barrier. Corsini's direction, I thought, was really spot on as well. I thought it had, I don't know, I want to say, I think the word I'm looking for is whatever the less knobby version of magnificence is. It has a magnificence to it, but the less wanky version of that word. Whatever the not wanky version of magnificence is, that's what this film has.
Transcendent.
Look at the moon tonight is positively transcendent. What was that movie?
It was Kobe Smulders.
Kobe Smulders in... It was one of the Nicholas Sparks ones, wasn't it?
Yes, what was it?
Oh my God, it wasn't Safe Haven, was it? Was it Safe Haven?
Could have been.
She was the dead wife, and she said to the new girl, the new Julianne Hough, "Look at the moon tonight, it's positively transcendent."
I think it is.
I think it is. Oh man, that's terrible. Yeah, this is not like that. This is actually good. Yeah, I was gripped to this. It's a little bit overlong. I was gripped by 2 hours, I think 12, something like that.
Oof, that is long.
It is a bit of a long one. 2 hours. 2 hours 15. Tell a lie.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Didn't quite work for me with the runtime. Having said that, the movie does go the full spread. I mean, this sees this couple into their old age, into their elderly years. It's a full familial Godfather-like structure to this. And to be fair, Virginia Fira, who I think gets more to do in the older years than Neil Schneider does, absolutely brilliant performance. I thought she was terrific. I want to see her in more things. I want to actually look her up and actually see what other things she starred in, because I'm thinking, wow, you've got presence, and yet I don't know you. You must have a wealth of material sat out there that I'm just waiting to find. But yeah, so I'll be looking into that over Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so An Impossible Love, or Un Amour Impossible. Check that
Your
out.
French accent never fails to astound me.
I have nothing to add to that.
Say magnifique.
Magnifique. Yeah, I'm terrible. I barely speak English.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So let's see, more news, and then we'll do the last review of the week. So let's just see what's going on in the world of film that we can talk about.
We're getting a Rosa Parks biopic.
Yeah, I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that there's an entire generation of children who now know who she is.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Thank you, Doctor Who. I don't know who the actress was who played her in Doctor Who, by the way. She was fantastic.
I don't know. No
she
idea.
was great. There's a poster out, by the way, for the new Hellboy movie.
Oh.
Which is very, very cool.
Genuinely had no idea that there was a new Hellboy movie.
I recommend you check it out. It's going to be great. David Harbour from Stranger Things is Hellboy.
Oh, of course. No, I did know, because it's not Ron Perlman.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the one that's not Ron Perlman. Exactly. Sure. Let's see what else we've got. Apple have made a deal to buy the rights to, not buy the rights, or lease them effectively, for the Peanuts franchise. Yeah, because, you know, that Peanuts movie did so well last year. Remember
Nobody
that?
cares.
Nobody cared then, but Apple are going to try and revive it. So, I guess we'll see about that one.
Just focus on Roald Dahl.
Exactly. Well, that's Netflix.
Oh,
Netflix have got Roald Dahl, and Apple are doing Peanuts, so we'll see.
Whatever.
Okay, so let's see what else we've got. Let's talk about Life Itself. It'll be our last review together this year.
Aww.
Right, Life Itself, which comes to us written and directed by Dan Fogelman, who's the creator.
Why do I know that name?
Do you watch This Is Us?
Yes.
Yeah, he created that. That's his show. And now he's got a movie vehicle to sort of work the same kind of magic in. Mm-hmm. And rather in keeping with This Is Us as well, it is a family story, an ensemble drama that takes place across different time periods, different continents.
Sounds familiar.
It's not in linear order. It's taken out of sequence.
Sounds familiar.
It is about tenuous connections between remote people and how those tenuous connections seek to draw them together, as it were. Right, it is the initially at least, it is the story of a New York couple played by Oscar Isaac and Olivia Wilde.
Love more.
Right. They are a happily married couple. She is pregnant. However, at some point, in some way that is ill-defined to begin with, she leaves him. And his world falls apart. And he then seeks to find solace in therapy and rebuild his life. That is one part of this film, and that is the central storyline from which we are spun this elaborate web of other people's lives and other people's stories. You have Olivia Cook as a young punk rocker. You have Antonio Banderas as a wealthy Spanish landowner. You have... I'm trying to think what his name was. Oh, man, I had this down earlier. Sergio Perez Mencheta. Right, as a young man trying to start his life with his family in Spain, who, you know, has a connection to Banderas. We have a young boy named Rodrigo who witnesses a horrific event in New York. We have all these incidents. Can't tell you how they come together, though, because that'll ruin it for you. So I'll tell you what, I'll just give you this clip of Oscar Isaac and Olivia Wilde having dinner, whilst expecting a child, having dinner with his parents.
What'd you do to get the foot unstuck from the
You
rib?
just push.
I'm not a big fan of like when the face goes like this.
Dog dishes.
Against the outside of the belly, and you're just like an alien.
I know it's the face.
It's like an alien.
You actually see the face?
I'm pretty sure it's a face.
No, I don't. That's creepy.
Is it possible that it's clawing
This
out?
is... Mom, you're aware that the baby's not going to actually live with you guys, right?
I got a little carried away.
This one's very
So
cute.
me. Isn't that cute?
Yes.
You better eat some of this before she gets it all.
Okay.
Baby clothes, baby jumpers. Tell me something, what the hell's a baby jumper for anyway?
So I'd been prepared for the worst with this, to be honest.
Oh, can I just ask?
Go on.
Was that Mandy Patinkin?
That was, in fact, Mandy Patinkin.
I knew I recognised that voice.
God bless Mandy Patinkin. I loves me some Mandy Patinkin.
Me too.
I've loved Mandy Patinkin since Chicago Hope in the early 90s.
It's all about Criminal Minds.
Yeah. Well, he didn't stick around long enough, did he?
True.
But did he kill himself in that series? Is that not the thing? Like, he leaves and then years later they just come up with this whole thing that he killed himself.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, so he's not the star of this, though, but then again, no one really is. It's very much an ensemble piece. And you look at the cast for this, and it includes, for instance, Mandy Patinkin, Annette Bening, Jean Smart. It's... Samuel L. Jackson at the very, very beginning as well, Lorenza Izzo. There is a good cast in there, and they are doing the best they can with what they have to work with. However, it's very, very obvious that Dan Fogelman is very rooted in the mentality of running a 22-episode network TV show, because this feels very, very overwrought. There's a lot shoved in here, and it doesn't quite flow as well as he presumably thinks it does. It's a very overstuffed film. A lot of it feels shortchanged. There are too many narrative threads that linger over other attempts to set up others. It doesn't quite come together, and its big grand reveal, its big "this was the point" moment, is not effective enough to justify the time spent within it.
I mean, that is a lot of characters.
There's a lot of characters. It's divided into chapters that are named after their central figure at any given time.
Right.
The film is an hour and 57 minutes long. It would feel like most of those characters get about 20 to 25 minutes. Yet each cast has kind of the setup for a good solid half an indie movie in and of themselves.
Yeah.
So it doesn't quite work for me.
What a
It's
shame.
capably directed, but it did need editing out at the scripting stage. Definitely. There's too much to this. Having said that, Fogelman does have a pretty good sense of visual humour. He does use a lot of sort of fun narrative trickery, visually before your eyes, and plays with the idea in particular of the unreliable narrator, and the idea of using continuity to just play with your expectations and even bring, garner a laugh when he can.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, great in it. Everyone is, to be honest, with what they have to work with, though. It's just that they're not given that much in the way of discipline. So, yeah.
I guess it's a meh.
It's a meh. It is a meh. But, this is actually one of those, this is getting a limited theatrical and it's on Sky Cinema. So, you'll be able
that's
to-
why I've
yeah.
seen the advert.
So you'll be able to watch it on day of release, in your living room. So
When's it out?
it is, I believe, 4th of January, that's out.
Okay.
So, we should clarify the release dates for this week, by the way.
You should.
Right, they are all over the show, okay? So, let's have a look. So, The Favourite, I think, is out on New Year's Day. Bumblebee is out on Boxing Day. Is it Boxing? Yeah, on Boxing Day, but, of course, previewing from, I think... Oh, no, it's out officially, on Christmas Eve, not Boxing Day.
Okay.
Yeah. Mary Poppins Returns is out on the 21st. RBG and An Impossible Love and Life Itself, I think, are all the 4th of January. So, yeah.
It's a bit all over the place.
Little bit. They kind of messed up the Christmas release schedule this year.
That's how we get it at this time of year.
Yes, quite. But, okay, one last piece of film news then.
Go on, then.
Did you know we're getting a film adaptation of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I was aware of this.
Have you heard who might direct it?
No.
DJ Caruso, who directed Disturbia,
Oh.
may be up to direct this. Don't get me wrong, he also directed Triple X3, The Return of Xander Cage, but we can't hold that against him. He did direct Eagle Eye, though. I quite like Eagle Eye. That one with Shia
I was going to
LaBeouf.
say, isn't that two Shia LaBeouf films?
Two Shia LaBeouf. Yep, indeed.
Does that mean Shia LaBeouf is going to be in it?
I hope not.
I really hope
I
not.
really hope
He
not.
seems to have gone away, and I'm okay with
Kind of
that.
happy with him gone, to be honest. Alex Zane's breathing a sigh of relief because people actually remember who he is as himself for a change, and no one's stopping him on the street and asking about Indiana Jones. So it's also, that's being written by Gary Dauberman, who wrote It.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he did also write Annabelle, so he is capable of crap as well.
Do we think this is going to be a sort of Goosebumps style film?
I wonder.
Because it was always a bit older than Goosebumps, wasn't it?
It was a bit. It aimed a bit older.
Yeah.
I actually watched, for the first time on home release this last week, Goosebumps 2.
Any good?
No, I'd seen it when we reviewed it,
I know
obviously,
that, but I mean, there's a second watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more disposable on the second watch. It doesn't hold up quite as well as the first one did, but then again, the second movie wasn't as good as the first one anyway. Decent cinematic universe launches started, though. So,
Good.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
All right with it.
Worth checking out. I think you'd enjoy it. 90s style, cheap and cheerful, PG-rated, Halloween family horror
It's my
film.
kind of jam.
Exactly, you'd love it. It's got a talking dummy in it, killing people. What's not to love?
What more do you want?
Right, so on which note, for one last time this year, here it is, your moment of Cage.
Hey, fellas.
Is he in black and white?
Where's that wind coming from? We're in a basement.
Wherever I go, the wind follows. And the wind, it smells like rain.